Once upon a time, in a land very far away, there was a chicken named Joe. Now, Joe was the type of chicken to make very serious jokes. For example, he would cry for help even when he didn't need it. The killer turkey was what Joe mainly cried for help because of. He was the main predator of the town. He would eat anything or anyone he saw when he was hungry. Now, everything in the village was going perfectly fine until Joe decided he wanted to have fun. So he decided to call for help and act like the killer turkey was after him. As Joe walked up to the window, he started to have second thoughts. What if his neighbors took it seriously? But he brushed it off, and that's when it happened. One of his neighbors heard the cries for help, and he decided to alert everyone else in the neighborhood. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Schwartz were another one of Joe's neighbors, and they decided they would go and help him. Mr. Schwartz started walking up to Joe's house, but then he realized it was just a prank. He was in absolute disbelief that he would do something like that. He told the other neighbors what he had seen, and they were in just as much shock as he was. Joe started laughing because he thought the reactions were absolutely hilarious, but he never knew what would be coming for him. It was a few weeks later when Joe got bored and he decided he would do it again to see their reactions. So he walked up to the window and then he did it again. The first neighbors decided they weren't going to do anything about it, but Mr. and Mrs. Schwartz thought they would check it out. This time, however, Mrs. Schwartz went up instead because Mr. Schwartz didn't feel like dealing with it. And then she couldn't believe it. It was fake again. She went back and told the other neighbors. The 4 neighbors decided that even if Joe cried for help, they wouldn't go over and help him. Joe heard a noise, so he turned and looked where the noise was coming from, and he couldn't believe it. It was the killer turkey. He rushed to the window so he could cry for help. This time, none of the neighbors responded to the cries for help. Some just completely ignored it, while others slept through it. As the killer turkey approached Joe, Joe knew there was no help now. He was right there, and after a few seconds of waiting, he devoured Joe.